Hello friends, Gary Goodhue here with the power of attunement. I want to take some time on this episode and explore one of the most common pitfalls that I see that happens with lightworkers today. Whether you're a teacher, a coach, a healer, we have this way where we want to serve others. In fact, our entire investment into our career is that of serving others so that they can be assisted to rise and change and evolve inside of their own experience. So we put ourselves out there for that. And yet there seems to be this recurring theme that I see with people where they make themselves responsible for the advancement of the person that we're serving. For example, if I'm a teacher and I'm teaching material, then I expect the student to apply themselves and learn that material. But if the student doesn't learn the material that I'm teaching, am I, as the teacher, responsible for their not learning? The same thing is true with a coach who's assisting a person from working through their own issues inside of their life and then taking on the responsibility for whether or not that person actually produces changes inside of their experience. The same is with a healer, where we want to help a person heal. We want to help a person rise above the things that are holding them back in their own health experience. And sometimes people do, and sometimes people don't. But if they don't, is it our fault? It's an interesting thing because the moment that we sign up to be of service, we are instantly putting ourselves in the frame of being responsible for assisting that person to change, evolve, heal, and grow. So what happens if they don't? I see a lot of healers and coaches and guides and teachers that serve others and yet take it very personally when someone doesn't apply what they've been given in order to cause transformation inside of their own experience. Here at the Emissaries, inside of the Attunement program, the founder of Attunement, Lloyd Arthur Meeker, had a phrase. And that phrase is, "Let love radiate without concern for results." Now this seems contradictory because in some way, the entire reason we sign up to put ourselves in position to serve others is because we want to assist them in achieving different results. But those results are their responsibility, not yours. Inside of my communication teachings, I use an example of throwing a ball. So if you and I are communicating, there's a back and forth experience that's happening, right? I'm communicating, you're listening, then you're communicating, and I'm listening. It's much akin to the idea of throwing a ball back and forth. Now, my responsibility is to throw the ball in a way that makes it easy for you to catch it. So there's this little zone right here. And if I can get the ball inside of that zone, then you should be able to catch it, receive, and then throw the ball back. But what if I put it perfectly inside the range and throw the ball and you don't catch it? Is that my responsibility? I say no, it's not. My responsibility is how easy or difficult I make the job of catching the ball for you. For you, how easy is the job of catching the ball? That is my responsibility. However, whether or not you catch the ball is your responsibility. And how you throw the ball back to me is also your responsibility. My responsibility lies in how I receive the ball that you're throwing and how I deliver the ball back to you. Does this make sense? See, we have responsibility in how we interact, how we affect, how we influence others. That is totally within our range of responsibility. And as a healer, teacher, or coach, we sign up to take on that responsibility in the effort of serving others. ideally hoping to produce some type of result for another inside of their experience. And yet, if you have been on a conscious journey long enough, you know that results in the external physical world is not what gauges the success of a person on a spiritual journey. What gauges their success is how they change and transform, how a person shows up inside of their experience. For we are creators. We are creating the experiences that we have inside of our life based upon how we show up, what we express, the perhaps mental thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, the paradigms that we live out of, the type of emotions that we generate in ourselves and then direct towards others. That determines our success on a spiritual journey or any sort of conscious change journey. Not the results. The results are actually the fruit of the manifestation of the change. And so, to let love radiate without concern for results is to be in your highest space within yourself as a healer, as a coach, as a guide, as a mentor, as a teacher. Yes, we want to pour the fullness of ourselves and give all of our gifts to the people that we serve. And ideally, always in the back of our mind, we're holding the desire along with our client that they cause changes and transformations within themselves. And yet, if that doesn't happen, does that mean that you're not a good coach? Does that mean that you're not a good healer? Does that mean that you didn't put everything that you have out of your base of knowledge and understanding, techniques and tools? And if you've given all that to an individual, if you've done your best, if you are connected with the inner source of the being of love that you are, seeing this other person also as a being of love and willing to be in service to them, giving your best, then that has its own value in itself. Now, there is the thing that one could say, I have a certain percentage of success rate. Therefore, the number of people that I serve, a certain high degree of them actually experience change and transformation. And that's wonderful. That is what we want. We want to be effective inside of our serving of others. And yet there are some that don't make it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a percentage. It would just be everybody, 100%. And for those that don't make it, the question isn't about your capacity to deliver something to another individual. If you know inside of yourself that you have done your best, you have been fully present with another, you have fully received them in their experience, and you have given everything that you can to assist them in their healing, change, and transformation process, then you have been letting love radiate. To let is to allow, to simply allow something to happen that is wanting to happen. And the truth of that statement is that your spiritual connection and your attunement with the divine being that you are inside as a higher reality wants to come through and express love through you as an open channel. If you are attuned with that highest reality, you are letting love move through. You are letting your mind be inspired with intuitive ideas. You're looking around the fringes of an experience in order to see what's really going on for that person so that you can help them. You are letting love radiate. Now, without concern for results doesn't mean that you're not trying to achieve results, or even that you're not holding the intention of positive change for yourself or a person that you're working with. The intention is there, yes. What it means to not be concerned with results is that you aren't taking the results of what's showing up in an experience as a person moves through a process day by day, there will be the evidence of result or lack of result for their change process. You are not using that to determine your effectiveness, your worthiness, or your value as a healer, speaker, teacher, coach, guide, mentor. You are recognizing that the true value comes from your ability to open up and let something move through you in service to another. And if we do that accurately and properly, in truth, in essence, in honor of the being that we are, serving as a channel for all the powers of love to move through us in service to another, then that is what has the true value. That is what has the true meaning. It is the letting love radiate to move through. The concern for results will only ever serve to keep us locked in to the physical dimension, the paradigm of matter reality, because that's where results show up. But that's not where causative forces are at play. Causative forces happen in the invisible. Whether you recognize that as the invisible spiritual realm of vibration and spirit, or the inner mental realm of thoughts and beliefs, habits and ideas, whatever it is, that's where changes occur. And those changes then transfer out into the land of matter, the land of results. They can show up there. But if we're constantly looking to see whether a result has shown up or not, and then using that to determine our own sense of effectiveness or productiveness in the way that we serve, then we're actually cutting ourselves short. Because you're saying that if this person doesn't change, then I'm not a good healer. Then I'm not a good teacher. And that's not true. Not everyone will change. Not everyone will accept the guidance and the coaching or accept the healing that you're offering and apply it unto themselves so that they can make positive changes within themselves. We wish everyone could, but they won't. It's just the reality. That's why there's a percentage game of how many people are actually taking this and taking it all the way through into causing a transformation within themselves. Some people will even pay money on the table, but not actually want to do the change, thinking that simply by meeting with you, something will change dramatically, magnificently, miraculously. But we know that's not the way it works. You couldn't be in the space that you are right now if you hadn't done the work within yourself to change certain patterns, to open up to new dimensions and realities within yourself, to expand your understandings and actually apply that into your choices, your words, your actions, into your living. Everyone has the same opportunity to be able to do that. And the same as we look to someone else to learn from along our path, we've now stepped up into the space of being willing to be that someone that others can look to for assistance. And yet, it's up to each one individually. So if you're a coach, teacher, healer, mentor, guide, I want you to hear this. It's not your responsibility for whether or not people change. It is your responsibility for how well you put forth the opportunity for change to a person, how well you're able to assist them by giving them everything that you have, by loving them and serving them from this place of love. And if you're someone who's a student or a client, know that you're going to the person on the other end. They're not going to heal you. They're not going to change you. They're not going to make you better. What they are going to do is give you some assistance, some guidance, some tools, some insight, some recommendations, some examples, perhaps some personal experiences that they used to go through their transformational process. We should expect someone to care for us and to be there for us as we're going through our process. but we can't expect someone else to do it for us. And you can't expect yourself to be able to do it for the people that you serve. Let love radiate without concern for results is a huge sphere that this applies to inside the sphere of serving others. It also applies to each one of our own personal experiences. If you're doing things to create changes and transformation within yourself, you cannot expect for those transformations to manifest immediately, either within yourself, within the people that interact with you, or within your life circumstances. This kind of stuff takes time. It takes time to change and transform. And so many people fall into the trap that if there isn't some change immediately happening that's showing positive results, then I must be doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. You just perhaps haven't been at it long enough. Change requires consistency. For us to continually show up, making those changes in order to cause the transformation until the person behind the scene is a different person. The change has occurred. Until then, we continue, we practice, we apply ourselves. And that's how we cause change and transformation within ourselves. But the trip up is the concern for results. Anytime that we're using our external experience as a gauge to determine how well we're doing inside of our own internal experience, we're lost. A person could easily say, someone new starting out as a healer, well, this person didn't heal. I must not be a very good healer. No, that's not true. Perhaps you may have further to develop on your journey in becoming a healer. Perhaps you have more to discover in yourself that you have to offer to another. But even at your height, as a master healer, as a master teacher, there will be others who do not accept the invitation. There will be people who show up saying, yes, this is what I want, and then don't follow through when they realize that they have personal responsibility in the matter of causing change and transformation. So I hope this message finds you, no matter which end you're on, as a teacher or a student, a healer or a client, a guide and a mentor, or someone who is looking to someone else to help show the way because they've already walked the steps along the way. Please engage in these processes of transformation and focus on what's real and what's important. Love, letting love radiate, and how we make choices, the thoughts that we think, the feelings that we have towards ourselves, towards others, the actions that we take, our choices. All of these are different ways that love can radiate through us in expression. That is what's most important. And if we can let go of all of the meaning and importance we've put onto our ideals of what something should be, of where someone else should be inside of their development process, then we're going to be freed up with less worry and concern, more present to be able to give what fully wants to move through us in the moment. Inspiration, intuition, higher knowing, this stuff only comes through in the present moment. And it can't come through if we're sitting there with a scoreboard of life trying to determine whether or not what we're doing is working. We have to completely let go of all that and be present enough so that whatever wants to move through can, so that we are an open channel, fully seeing the person in front of us and also fully connected to the divine presence within us, that there may be something that moves through that could be of service to this other person. I cannot tell you how many different times I've worked with other people and something showed up in my mind only because I was with that other person, a new way of explaining a concept, a new way of presenting something so that they could understand from their particular viewpoint that they're holding. Sometimes even new practices come into my mind, and they're being delivered to me so that I could deliver them to that person. That is the space of service that I signed up for and that I'm holding. And yet, whether or not that person receives it, takes it, applies it, integrates it, causes transformation within themselves, that's their responsibility. I can continue to show up for them. I can continue to encourage, to bring reminders, to show them that who they are is more than the identity they've locked themselves into. But at the end of the day, I can't do it for them. You can't do it for the people that you serve, and the people that are serving you can't do it for you. It's something we have to be willing to be doing ourselves. And yes, of course, we all want to change. We all want transformation. We all want greater results inside of our lives. That's why we go looking for people to assist us. And yet, those transformations are not the end goal. They are a result, a manifestation of the goal, which is causing the change within oneself. Perhaps it's affirmations and reprogramming the conscious mind for the perspective with which we hold, that we see ourselves, that we see others, that we see the world, that we see God in. When we shift those perspectives, something shifts inside of ourselves that causes us to show up differently as a different person. When we shift our emotional expression, when we choose to be happy, to truly just be happy, to love others, regardless of what we believe they think about us, regardless of our previous experiences of interactions with them, when we choose to simply be a channel for love, expressing love, representing love to others inside of this world, then we're doing the real work. The work that will, in time, show itself inside of the effects. It will show itself inside of the results. And yet, we cannot rely on the results to tell us that we're doing the right things that are causing changes and transformations, because they don't happen immediately. It's a process that unfolds over time. And if you're honest with yourself, even though the effect or the result of the transformation may be the thing that initially stimulated you into wanting to do conscious work, the growth that's experienced from causing change within oneself is so much more great and grand than the experience and the results. The truth is, as soon as we have better results inside of our life, we're going to want even better results, because we're continually wanting more out of our experience. Not that we want more stuff, better stuff, more expensive, finer stuff, an easier and more comfortable way of life. No, what we really want inside each one of us is to experience the more that's available in knowing who we are, in knowing our creatorship, in knowing our impact and influence on others, and the ability to shift things in a positive direction, both for ourselves, for the collective containers that we're involved in, and for the people that we serve. So, I want to end this with encouraging you once again, let go of looking at results, especially as any determiner of whether or not you're doing a good job with what you're doing inside of your life. The results come over time as transformation comes. Do not let the apparent lack of results convince you that you are not doing a good job and cause you to give up. In fact, it is the continual application, the consistency of making small progress that eventually will lead to a greater result. But that's not the determiner. I have seen people who have tried to increase a relationship, tried to make a relationship better because it wasn't in a good place. And so they decide that they're going to be happy and they're going to show some gratitude and they're going to appreciate and maybe, the other person in a certain way that they think would shift the dynamic of that relationship. And then it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The dynamic didn't shift. So, oh well, what's the point? I guess I'll just go back to being how it was, because at least then I'm not having to make myself be this other way. Well, if you're trying to get a result and making yourself be a way different than what you want to be, you've already lost the game. The truth is, each one of us are simply the manifestation of what we put out. And so if I commit myself to loving others, regardless of how they show up, regardless of how they respond, regardless of how that particular relationship shows up in a moment and impacts me, I'm committed to being love. Not because I want to change the relationship, but because I want to know myself as loving. I'm tired of knowing myself as holding a grudge, as being triggered by another person because of their attitude. I'm tired of letting my vibration drop because of someone else's vibration and how they express towards me and interact with me. And so, let love radiate without concern for results, simply because you know that you are a being of love, and love is what you do. Love is what you express. Love is who you are. Love is how you live. Love is the gift that you give into this world. The results will come as long as we let go of trying to look for them and using them to determine our progress. Thank you, friends. I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, click the like button. Go ahead and share. Subscribe on the channel if you haven't already. Let's get those algorithms up so we can get these universal teachings out to everybody out there. Okay? We've got great stuff to share. And you are an amazing person. Wherever you are in your awakening journey, know your own amazement. Namaste. Many blessings. Until the next time.